Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of How to Reach 2000. I've just played a game against a 1200 and I lost. It was a very weird game. My opponent played really well. He played at 90 accuracy, which was kinda crazy. I don't know, it was like a bit suspicious and I didn't even make big mistakes. He played really well in the middle game and the end game, so I'm not sure if that guy's a legit 1200 because I've never seen a 1200 play like that. If he's an actual 1200, then that's pretty impressive. So I lost a bit of rating, and after I win this game, I'm gonna be 1200 again. We are playing a Caro Kann defense, and they play like a weird system. Putting pressure on this knight, and in the exchange Caro Kann, usually we want this pawn defended with c3, and you want this bishop on the d3 square. But they're playing like a weird approach, which leaves this pawn a little bit vulnerable. They go for takes, which is kind of weird because now I can eventually break with this. I'm gonna play e6 next, after I take this knight. Taking the knight destabilizes this pawn, which is nice. Now we have a very nice position. We have this pawn break, which is very useful. I'm not worried about them taking me. I feel like I want to let them do that. So I'm gonna play this. If they take me, I'm gonna take with the queen and send it into an endgame. If they want to trade and damage my structure, I'm okay with it. I'm gonna have a slightly imbalanced structure, but I have a very nice position. We're already in an endgame, that's kinda weird. I haven't even spent a minute, but we're already in an endgame. Now, we can try to win this position. First of all, we don't need to castle our king in the endgame. Like, our king has no problems. So we can play this move, which activates the king and also gets out of the fork. If I did nothing, like let's say I played rook g8, then there was this knight c7 check, and they would have won my exchange. I didn't want to do that, so I played king here so that I can prevent it. So this is not possible. Now I can play this, which I really like. Now they only have one option, and I'm gonna go here next. And I just have pressure everywhere. I have the semi-open B file, I have the semi-open G file, and that's leaving the knight kind of vulnerable, so I can go here, and they have to play this to defend the knight, and then I'm gonna go here, and in fact I'm winning this exchange. So that was a huge mistake. You have to think about pawn moves and what squares they leave behind, and now we can see that if this knight ever moves, like not there, but let's say they move here, then I'm gonna take the rook. So now we put more pressure on the pinned piece. We're winning in this position because we're going to be up in exchange, and we're going to have really nice and active rooks. And our pawn structure is not even that bad. It's actually really good. We're doing a good job. They don't actually have many options. They have to move their knight. Moving their rook is not very good because now they're going to be down a piece rather than being down in exchange. That was a bad choice. The only thing they got going for them is they can eventually try to create a passed pawn. Now let's bring our bishop back to a safer square. We are currently threatening this, and then rook takes pawn, and our opponent misses it. I'm wondering if we should take first and then play it. I kinda like that. I actually like taking first, and I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna win this pawn. I'm not too worried about this check because I can block with a bishop, and they have no proper way to put pressure on the bishop. So I'm gonna follow it up with this move, and I'm probably gonna go back with my rook and then offer a rook trade on the b file. Now I can go back. I'm threatening this move, which forces a rook trade. It at least trades one pair of rooks. I'm gonna go here. If they move this rook away, I mean they cannot, but let's say they did, then I was gonna take the other rook, although they have nothing going for them. Now I can either defend this pawn with my king or the bishop. Actually, I like defending with the bishop. And also I can push, which is nice. But then maybe they have this move, which I don't really like. I'm gonna go here. Activating my bishop. They go there anyways. Interesting. I'm gonna go here so that if they play this, I'm gonna just take. And I'm not losing the f7 pawn. Now my idea is to play h5. What h5 does is, once I bring my rook, I'm gonna just snack on these pawns. So after this move, they cannot take because then I can come back. And I'm gonna win this pawn on h5, and this pawn is weak. Okay, I'm not too worried. I can go here, what I'm doing is I'm repositioning my king so that I can try to take these pawns. They have nothing going for them, like they can try to do this, but that doesn't work because I can simply take. This guy is definitely playing more like a 1100/1200 than the guy I played before. Like that guy was just weird. Doesn't even make any sense. Let's attack this pawn. I go there, makes sense. Go here. Idea is to play this and break up the structure. I can play this anyways. My bishop defends the rook. I'm gonna go here if they push. And in that position, I'm gonna be threatening this, which wins the pawn. And also I'm threatening to simply take this. Okay, now I go here, attacking this. I can play this anyways. That's interesting. If they check, I'm gonna go up. If they push, I'm gonna take like this. Maybe I'll take with the f pawn at the end so that I can play king here and eventually create a passed g pawn. The rook is well defended by the pawn, and the rook defends the bishop. There's no way for them to defend this pawn. Actually, I kind of like taking this way, because that creates a passed h pawn, right? I'm not too worried about check, because first of all I can block, and also I don't have to do anything. I can actually go here. They take like this. I actually will take with the king. The point of this is I have a passed pawn now. I'm gonna go bishop here, attacking this pawn, and I'm threatening to sacrifice and then push my pawn. They don't defend the pawn, so let's take. I'm gonna play this next, and I'll take this guy next. I'm gonna check, so that if they go up, then I can try to checkmate them. I can go here, defending this pawn against future attacks. I'm gonna start pushing. I'm not worried about this because I can check and then take the pawn. Check and take this pawn. Maybe they'll go here and then hang the fork, so I'm not gonna pre-move that. Oh wow, I should be predicting games. Yeah, this is why you don't pre-move. Actually, it doesn't even work, but I'm gonna simplify. They can actually attack my rook, and we're just gonna be trading. e4, c6, knight f3, d5. This is the Caro Kann. They go for the exchange variation, and they play the move knight c3. Knight c3 is not the best move because in the exchange Caro Kann they're supposed to be playing d4, c3, bishop d3, and this knight usually goes to the d2 square after this bishop moves away. I bring the knights out, which are best moves because I'm simply developing into the center of the board and I'm putting pressure on the white position. They go for this move, which is not ideal because this bishop usually belongs on the d3 square, and I go for this move. This is a very common idea in Caro Kann positions, and the idea is you want to get rid of this bishop by taking this knight. So I'm just gonna play e6, and you can notice that I have a bunch of pawns on the light squares, so I don't need my light squared bishop as much as my dark squared bishop. They go for this exchange, which is not recommended because their light squared bishop is very important. And they play h3. My idea was to take knight. The engine doesn't like it, but I'm okay with it because eventually I'm gonna play e6 and I have a lot of pawns on the light squares. Played e6 to open up this bishop and also play c5. In the game we get bishop to g5, putting pressure on this knight, and I played the move c5 anyways. I played c5 because I wanted to develop my bishop to the c5 square and eventually use the b and the c file. The c6 pawn is a backwards pawn, so I wanted to get rid of it so that I have less weaknesses in my position. They go for the exchange and I go for the queen trade so that I can get a nice structure. You might say doubled pawns and isolated pawns. The white is better because they have the nice pawns, but it's not the case because there's also piece activity that comes into the evaluation. My pieces are simply better. My bishop is doing a better job than this knight. This knight takes a long time to get across the board, whereas my bishop can move across the board in like one move. and they go wrong with this move. This move doesn't really have a threat. I mean, currently they're threatening this, but that's kind of like hope chess. It's like if I just play this, then I get forked, but I don't have to get forked. In the game, I played king to d7. King to d7 is not the best move because the engine sees the fact that the king on e7 defends these pawns. And later in the endgame, you can see that my king went to the e7 square anyways. Now I should have gone rook to b8 to put pressure on the knight and maybe take the b2 pawn, but I did not see that, and I went here, kicking out the knight, and my idea was this, which didn't quite work. That was not really a good move by me. I should have really spent my time. Like, I had plenty of time to spend, but I played too quickly. Now I play rook to b8, putting pressure on this pawn. They play b4. b4 is a huge mistake because now I have this move and I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on this knight and I can win the exchange. And here I should have played the move rook h c8, but instead I played the move rook b c8. My idea was this rook might go to the g file and put pressure over here, so I wanted the b rook to go here. The engine says this is better because knight a4 and this fork doesn't really exist. The best move in this position is to play the move knight a4, giving up the exchange, and after that they can try to get this fork. Apparently this was bad because I have king c7, and after the knight takes, I can move my bishop to the square and this knight is trapped. But in the game, we get this position because they played rook a b1 and they simply allowed the knight to be captured. They go king here, activating the king. I drop my bishop back so that I have ideas of check and then taking this pawn. Now they go for this move, ignoring the threat of rook to c3. I decided to take this pawn, and after the rook takes, I played this check, and after the king moved away, I took the free pawn. They decided to give me a check, and I blocked with the bishop. They went here, and now I played this move. The idea of this is I'm threatening to play this, and after I play this move, they have nothing but to trade at least one pair of rooks. Went here, and now after the trade, they went here so that they don't have to trade all of the pieces. I went here defending this pawn, and after this, I went king to e7, just a very solid move, defending all of these pawns. They went rook here, activating, and I decided to move my king and try to bring it to this side so that I can be very active. Now I went here so that I can put pressure on this pawn. They went f3 and I played the move rook to f4. The idea of rook to f4 is to play f5 without actually compromising the structure of my position. In the game they played king to e3 and I played f5. They pushed. Now I go after this pawn, and also that removes the rook away from the f4 square, so I can play bishop f4 and then try to win this pawn. They went king here defending this pawn. Now I'll go here so that I can win one of these pawns, and after they go here I take with the f pawn so that I have ideas of creating a passed h pawn, and after they take, I take with the king because now I have a passed pawn that can go down the board and promote. They go c3 and I played this move so that I can try to sacrifice my bishop to get the rook off the board, and they played rook to a6 and I simply took the pawn with check. And after the king moved away, I defended my pawn so that everything is nice and defended. They went for my h pawn. I didn't really want to give up the h pawn, so I played this. The idea is it's on a dark square and I can simply defend my pawn with the bishop. I give a random check. I shouldn't have done that. I was just playing random moves and my idea was to play rook h2. I push the pawn. They go for this, which is a bad move because I can check now, and my idea is I can take this pawn, and if they went here I can simplify this position because after check and they go here I can take the rook and they have to take my rook, and this is a completely winning position. In the game, my opponent resigned after they played the move bishop to d4 check. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys liked this video.